Shadow Over Innsmouth by H.P. Lovecraft, adapted by Charles York. During the winter of 1927 to 28, the U.S. government launched a secretive raid on the decayed seaport of Innsmouth. Few details were ever revealed, but those who paid attention noticed the town was left nearly abandoned, its buildings dynamited, its people vanished. Officials muttered about an outbreak, quarantine, and naval operations near Devil Reef. The truth, however, was far worse. I was the one who had escaped, I was the one who had begged for the investigation, and now I must tell my story before it is too late. I first heard of Innsmouth while traveling through New England, researching local history. Few maps marked it, and those who spoke of it did so reluctantly. The librarian in Newburyport advised me against going, whispering of strange deformities, odd disappearances, and things best left undisturbed. That only made me more curious. A bus ran to Innsmouth, cheap and infrequent. When it arrived, I hesitated. The driver was a sullen, heavy-lidded man with bulging, watery eyes, his expression unreadable. I climbed aboard, the only outsider. The journey was silent, the air growing thick with the scent of brine and decay. Innsmouth appeared through the mist, rotting, leaning buildings clustered along the harbor. The streets were eerily empty, save for figures moving with unnatural, jerking gaits. They barely acknowledged me. The atmosphere pressed down, heavy and suffocating. I checked into the Gilman House, the only hotel in town. The proprietor, a gaunt man with a rasping voice, handed me a key without a word. My room was damp, its air thick with mildew, the window looking out onto the lifeless streets below. I felt watched. At a local shop, I met a nervous young clerk who confirmed my fears. He spoke of the esoteric order of Dagon, a cult that ruled the town, and of an old drunkard named Zadok Allen, who knew Innsmouth's dark past. I found him by the docks, nursing a bottle of whiskey, his eyes wild and unfocused. Zadok spoke in hushed, frantic tones of Captain Obed Marsh, a sea trader who had brought something terrible back from the South Pacific. He had struck a deal with the Deep Ones, inhuman, fish-like creatures that dwelled beneath the waves. They granted wealth, bountiful fishing, and strange gold jewelry in exchange for sacrifices. Over generations, the people of Innsmouth changed, their blood mingling with these ancient things. Wide-set eyes, gill-like necks, webbed fingers. Those who changed completely vanished beneath the waves, never to return. "They know I'm talking," Zadok muttered suddenly, his face twisting in fear. His gaze flicked behind me. "Go. Now." I turned. The streets, once empty, were now lined with figures, watching, waiting. Dusk fell. I locked my door in the Gilman house, but the silence of the town had changed. It was no longer still, it was waiting. Then came the sounds. Slithering steps. A gurgling croak. The creak of floorboards outside my room. The click of a lock. I bolted for the window, clambering onto the roof as my door slowly opened. Below, grotesque figures with bulging eyes and webbed hands prowled the streets. The scent of brine thickened. The town had come alive. I ran across rooftops, heart hammering. The esoteric order of Dagon's church loomed ahead. From within, deep voices chanted, summoning something unseen from the abyss. The very air vibrated with ancient power. I climbed down, slipping through alleys, breath ragged. The bus station was near, but the driver was there, waiting, his unblinking, bulging eyes locked onto me. He was one of them. I ran past him into the woods. Behind me, the town stirred, the hunt beginning. For hours I ran. The scent of salt and decay clung to me. The sounds of pursuit faded. By dawn, I reached the next town, breathless, delirious, raving of what I had seen. Authorities investigated, but found nothing. Just the same rotting buildings, the same eerie silence. No one spoke of Innsmouth. No one ever did. Years passed. I tried to forget. But the dreams came. I saw black, endless depths. I heard whispering voices calling me home. My reflection changed. My eyes grew wider, my skin rougher. The truth clawed at my mind. I was one of them. My blood was Innsmouth's. The call of the Deep Ones would not be denied. Soon I would return to the sea, and in the dark I would not be afraid.